Lakers Timberwolves. Yeah, my boy. Anthony Edwards. I was so happy that everything I said came true from last week's show because that was the one thing that was the bet that I was riding on at the roulette wheel. That was really like the thing that I wanted to happen because I went all in on that take because I've been watching him this year because I'm a fan of his game and I like watching him play basketball. And the thing that stood out to me the most was, I mean, this sort of there is no guy thing is actually working so well against the Lakers with the Timberwolves because there secretly still is. Like like you have to be so good to still be the guy in the there is no guy system, right?
Right.
And Anthony Edwards fits that perfectly because he really does come up big in big moments. He has a great time playing basketball. He's a competitor. He talks shit to the crowd in a way cooler way than Luka Doncic does. It does it actually seems sort of lighthearted. I don't know. Like I really don't mind it the way that he does it, but they just didn't look daunted in any way, shape, or form. Like the identity to me of this Timberwolves team is so far removed from when Cat was the face of it. Now they're just unintimidated by the occasion. They didn't give a fuck that they were in LA. They didn't give a fuck that they were playing LeBron James. They didn't give a fuck that they were playing the guy that crashed him out of the playoffs last year. And Anthony Edwards doing like a Spider-Man celebration in Luka Doncic's face. And when Luka saw it, he got so upset. And I
Rattled.
was like, yeah, like it just like hit him like in the face. It looked like he got slapped. And I was like, yeah, dude, this guy doesn't give a fuck. And I really love that about him above all else. Like I love his athleticism. I love the plays that he can make. I love that he's added a really elite decision making in the 3-point shot slash 3-point shot thing to his game. I think he's so much more than people expect. The jump is real, and he was always really, really, really good. So at the time of recording, he's gonna tip off with the Lakers in Game 2 in 2 hours. I don't think it's a huge deal if the Timberwolves lose that game, but honestly, I don't think they're going to because I was struggling to see what the Lakers could do differently to match up better against the T Wolves because I mean, they were just spreading the ball around so much. They were literally exploiting LeBron James's lack of quickness on the defensive end. Like that to me, I'm like, oh shit. I didn't see that playoff scenario coming. I mean, it's all good. Like he's 40 years old. Like I'm not using that to be a LeBron hater, but he's not as quick on defense as he needs to be in the playoffs anymore. The way that Luka and him are is a kind of a huge defensive liability, to be totally honest with you. And like, I
Yeah.
think that got really exploited. I think that they were sort of quieted at the right times. And then all this talk of all the role players, like the Hachimuras and the Austin Reeves of the world, I was like, I don't, nothing really like that intimidating from that camp. Now, do I think that those guys, if Ray was here, he'd be the first one to be like, those guys are going to have one of those guys is going to have a big game. Like he's going to come out and he's going to have a big game. He's going to maybe win a
Yeah.
game for the Lakers. But I still don't think that would, I think that's probably true, but I still don't think that would change my mind about what I saw. Like I really think that they came out and punched them square in the face. So what was your impressions of it? I'm obviously crazy biased because I'm a huge Anthony Edwards fan. So like, am I overreacting or am I properly reacting?
No, I think again, I hate to not be controversial, but I think you're properly reacting because we talked about that last week. That Ant needed to cancel out either LeBron or Luca, and you all rightfully said Luca, and he didn't do that in this game, but he canceled out LeBron, and the Lakers role players fucking just didn't show up. So if that happens, like if that is the formula, they just showed you that Luca can drop nearly 40 points on you, and they're still going to lose by 22. Like that's the discrepancy there between the two teams. And I mean, I thought Randall had a good game. Obviously, I thought
Well,
Jaden
I mean, Ray
McDaniels.
Ray did say to give Ray his flowers. He's not here, but he did say Julius Randle needs to come out hiding in the playoffs for the first time. And I think
Yeah,
that we all sort of echoed that statement because, you know, the Julius Randle we saw show up or not show up, however you want to look at it for the New York Knicks, that didn't look like the same guy to me. Leah didn't like his game. She was getting interested by that point, and she was like, "I don't like this Julius Randle guy." And then he hit a shot right in her face. So I was like, "Leah, I don't know. He might be saying something. He might be saying something today." Like there was a lot of like OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, like what are the Knicks assets in the offseason? And I was happy to see Julius Randle have a good game, but man, Anunoby had a really good game. So it was like, it is sort of sad to see that broken up because they were actually a cool unit. That being said, I'm glad to have Randle over on the Timberwolves because I think he's really complimentary offensively when he plays like that with the rest of the roster, not just Ant, with everybody. So I mean, I agree with you totally.
And Naz Reid dropping 23 off the bench. Like again,
Yeah, he was great. He was
if
great. He
that
had like
happened.
a Dort performance off the bench shooting. He was like that was really impressive, I thought.
So I think what I learned, and you can tell me if you think I'm right or wrong here, is that if the role players for the Timberwolves play just above average, not their best, but above average, it will take a Herculean effort from LeBron, Luca, and pick one other role player on the Lakers to make to beat them. I do think that as a unit, Minnesota, I think they kind of had like that's why I picked them in 5 last week, not just to be a dick, although that was a pretty big portion of it. But I I just it felt like we saw LeBron let his foot off the gas a little bit towards the end of that game, or he was
Hmm.
gassed. And or there's been that theory floating around that maybe he just thought that Luka's on a fucking tear. Let's just make sure that this is his night. And so maybe tonight we see a LeBron stat line of 35, 10, and 11, and then it's going to be more competitive for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if they can get their two-man game going, if Reeves can get more involved, I mean, I know he had 16 points. I don't know if that's really going to cut it from him, to be totally honest with you. If he's definitely the third guy, Hachimura, I mean, that was bad. I didn't think that was a good performance at all. I don't think he impacted the game in any real way. I think there's a real problem in the front court for this Los Angeles Lakers team that I don't think that they were really prepared for. We did basically say this was a bit of a nightmare matchup for them, like in certain areas, and a lot of people across the NBA, a lot of pundits were like Lakers, 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 and I mean, yeah, did they win that trade amazingly? Yes. Did they get way better after that trade? Yes. Was the consistency and fitness that Luka put in impressive? Of course. And did it seem like he had a chip on his shoulder? Absolutely. But I just don't know if any of that noise gets to this Minnesota Timberwolves team, to be totally honest with you. Like, they just show up and hoop. And I think it's a thing that I really like about them. I will say, Gobert, you can hide him in this series too. Like there's ways that I saw Gobert get so exploited against the Mavs last season, just with specific role players that you can put that they were like throwing at him, and he had he doesn't have like a center that he has a huge handful with in this series. You know what I mean? There's no like Nikola Jokic that is just exploiting Rudy Gobert down the stretch, just like Rudy Gobert's got 5 fouls in the second quarter every single time because he's got this terrible combination of being an average defender, despite what people say about him, and being a fucking idiot. So he constantly just does really stupid shit that really annoys me. He's my least favorite player on the Timberwolves, but you can hide him in that like sort of semi-free safety position because he doesn't have to keep up with an athletic playmaking freak like Jokic. He can just sort of like play the ball a little bit, right? And then maybe even get involved a little bit offensively and have his hands around the rim, which is what he's actually good at. When he's put in a situation where he has to be like a one-on-one defender with a guy that can take him places, it's nightmarish to watch, in my opinion. Like I feel almost bad for him, but not really. So because of just some of the decision making in his brain. So to me, I just think they have matchup issues. They don't have the personnel to correctly exploit the matchups on the other side. That being said, you're right. They have these two absolutely elite players, and I think it's against one guy on that level, right? You can have the debate about LeBron, but LeBron's still LeBron. Like, let's not get into the silly nitty gritty of that whole thing. It's basically 2v1 if you're counting stars, right?
Yep.
And I think I'm okay with that because I like the 2 through 7 of the Minnesota Timberwolves in this series, and I like the 3 through 7 of the Minnesota Timberwolves in general
Yep.
in several matchups moving forward. So I'm excited to see what happens tonight. If the T-Wolves lose, I'm really not going to be any less bullish because all they needed to do is take home court. So
What do you think the feeling reaction will be if the Lakers lose and they go down 0-2?
I think there's serious alarm bells ringing in Los Angeles, and I think there's like, yeah, I mean, I think that's really bad. I think it's so what always happens in these situations. I'll tell you exactly what happens when you talk about the Los Angeles Lakers is your brain goes from a Celtics fan's perspective, your brain goes, I mean, if that was us, we would fucking kill the Celtics. Like, we would kill them. And then you go like, oh yeah, the Lakers are immune from criticism. Like, they're not allowed. Their fan base is just like, well, you know. And I didn't even bring up, and I'm not gonna bring up, and I never will bring up the fact that the Lakers got 6 fouls called against them. And I didn't say that on this podcast. I didn't bring that up, that they got 6 fouls called against them in the entirety of the game. 6 fouls they got called against them. And that's not something I would say, that they got 6 fouls called against them across a whole game and insinuate. I would never insinuate, Mike, that means that the league wants the Lakers to win and they constantly get favoritism. That's not something I would ever say here on Missing the Point into a microphone.
Well, but it is worth noting that the Lakers had 10 fouls called against them.
But 6 made the joke funnier.
It did.
And 10 is still so low. Yeah. That's so crazy, bro.
I mean,
I think
the Wolves had like
it was 6. I would think it was 6 not in garbage time, for the record. I think that by the time I saw that 6 stat, it was when the game was like basically over. So maybe 4 more got called after. And I was done at that point. It was 6 when it mattered. 6 that mattered.
6 is a number. So it was 6-21 in favor of the Lakers.
That's fucking stupid. That's fucking dumb as shit. Especially considering the way that the Timberwolves play basketball, dude. That's fucking crazy. All right, fine, whatever. Don't let them play defense. They'll still absolutely blitz them.
Okay,
if they do that again, yeah.
Overreaction. What happens if the Lakers get swept?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think anything. I think they're fine. I think the
just run it back next year.
Yeah, they just run it back next year. LeBron's like, yeah, I'm still doing it, and like, we just do the same thing again next year, where we're like talking about how much Bronny sucks, but like they're still selling tickets all fucking summer to like the Staples Center tour or whatever stupid name it has now, the Staples Center tour, and they're still selling just as many LeBron James jerseys. And, they're still the Los Angeles Lakers. This is the thing. Like, this is the attitude that their fan base has, because it's true, I mean, I, for one, think they can't
think anything happens.
No, I don't.
It's so ridiculous that you're right.
Yeah.
Because the national media will overreact for like 3 days. They'll be like, that's abysmal. It's LeBron's worst performance, blah, blah, blah. And then day 4 until tip-off of the next season, it will be, well, LeBron didn't have this in his favor. Is he going to come? Like, is he going to make another run? And that's all it ever is. Like, they're hard on it for 3 fucking days.
Since you mentioned the national media, I will say one thing, and I think we'll enjoy this if they get swept. Stephen A. Smith is in a very toxic argument with him right now, as I'm sure you're aware. His victory lap and like level of pettiness, I think, will be historic. Like, really, really, really historic. And like, LeBron's platform then immediately shrinks because he's like out of the playoffs. And it's not like when Tiger's not playing in a fucking Masters, it's, if he tweets, it's still a big deal. It's just not how the NBA works. So yeah, that would be tough. That would be very, very tough, because Stephen A. Smith is like already still paid to talk about basketball. And LeBron's not out there just like silencing the haters with his game anymore. That would be bad.
Fun to watch though. And you know what? Stephen A is on the right side of this argument.
You think?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think morally, maybe not morally, I think logically, Stephen A. Smith is on the right side of this argument. I think, like, don't involve my kids. It's like you like basically grandfathered him into the fucking NBA, dude. Like, that comes with like getting talked about on TV, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's just,
it averaged like 4 points a game at USC.
Yeah. Like, no. And it's like, and I also think that LeBron, when he went up to him, I think he was like trying to be intimidating.
And I don't think run him.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's very cool, to be honest, to do that to people, because like, you're just throwing your weight around now at this point, and it's like, okay, well, it doesn't seem like he got that intimidated. In fact, I think he immediately saw a way to exploit you for more clicks and views, because I don't think he's above that. That's the part that bothers me a little bit.
He's 57 years old or something, so like, you're a tough guy because you're going to go after a 57-year-old like analyst. Like, come on, dude.
No, agreed. I mean, I think that LeBron's been like that in the past. I think he's like tried to like sort of, use his like name, fame, and frame to make people scared of him. And I liked when Imo Udoka was like, don't come over here like you're going to fucking do something, dude. And I was like, that's exactly what you say to a motherfucker like that, because he's not.
Yep.
Right. He's got too much to lose, and everybody's got the Will Smith thing on our minds and how bad that looked.
And
You can't.
also, he's just not that guy.
He's also
He's
just
not.
not that guy. He's
He's
not.
not.
And like and it's a little offensive, I think, to certain people when someone like acts like that towards you when you're just not that dude. And like, you know, the thing is, I'm not that fucking dude. Like, I don't
Yeah,
really
far be it
carry
for me
myself. Yeah,
to
yeah, like
level criticism, but it
right.
takes one to
But
know
it's
one.
like,
I'm also not
yeah,
that guy.
yeah, right. It's like but at the same time, it's like I don't walk around trying to get people to do what I want using intimidation. Like I try to manipulate people in other ways. So to me, it's like I don't really like bullies, to be honest. Like I don't. It's
Yeah.
not to say that I haven't participated in the activity in my life, and I'm not proud of that. But like you shouldn't bully people. I do also have the opinion that you shouldn't let yourself get bullied. To be honest with you, like I think that you should find a way to not get bullied. I think you should find a way to stand up for yourself in this life. Otherwise, it's going to happen to you because they'll smell it. At the same time, it sounds ridiculous when Stephen A. Smith says if he had to come near me, I would have swung on him because LeBron James would throw him through the fucking ceiling. Like it's like that sounds absurd when he says that.
Maybe. Because
Definitely.
I genuinely think that neither of those two are that guy.
Right.
But I don't know, man. You're an old brittle man back against the corner. Like I think he'd be the first one to swing.
Interesting. You might be right. Because honestly, you get two bop bops in on LeBron and then they break it up. You're good for life, dude. Like you're absolutely good for life. Here's what I'll remind you of though. I don't know if you remember that Pistons brawl. A couple of regular guys thought that like dudes that were about 9,000 times less athletic than LeBron were still a good idea to fight.
Yeah,
And
but Ron Artest was a psychopath. Like
yeah,
I
but
wouldn't
he
fake
wasn't
fight him.
LeBron's level of like athleticism either, and
Sure.
he still absolutely hit that dude with a fucking homing missile. Like that was one of the best punches I've ever seen recorded. Like to be totally that first one, because that guy just didn't know how to take his head off the center line, man. And like it was just there, ready to be popped like a fucking balloon. And if you're not even that level of trained, like to that you just know about the diagonals, you should not be fighting professional athletes. I don't know what Stephen A. Smith's level of training is. I think he's like flirted with boxing, celebrity boxing. Is that true, or has he actually done it?
Well, I mean, he's lost like 45 pounds and added muscle over the last a year and a half, and that's all he's been doing is boxing. So like, I don't listen. Again, this took a wild fucking
All
turn.
right. You know what? Fine, I'll
I'm
take
not
it. I'll take
saying
Stephen A. I'll take
I'm
Stephen
not
A. if
saying,
I'm getting odds. Plus 450.
but like, Ron Artest was a guy that didn't want to be like was begging you to fuck with him so that he could prove that he was
Right.
just going to mess
No,
you up.
I think Ron Artest probably fuck up both those guys if we're being honest. LeBron and
Oh,
Stephen A. Smith. Like,
yeah, 100%.
yeah, it's like today. uh, like off the couch. All right, yeah. Let's move on. That was a really nice way for Celtics fans to shit on the Lakers. I really enjoyed it. Just bring up like the pettiest shit that's happening in the Lakers media sphere.
That's where I live and breathe, dude. So like, that's my
Love
wheelhouse.
it. I love it.